Okay, hi there. In this quick video I'm going to talk about a bit the gearbox adjustment, mainly for the Focus, but it applies to all the cars. So previously, if you've been following my guide on Steam, or maybe you've seen my video about the transmission adjustment, basically I was always adjusting my gearbox based on the data you can find on the internet. So in case of AFK Civic, I would just go Google what the transmission are available to the Civic, the stock ones, the swapped ones, the modified ones, and it worked quite well. It worked quite well because the Civic, well, is a car that has a lot of following, it has a big community. It's like you get a lot of data. This generation Focus I'm maining right now doesn't seem to be such a car because I don't really get a lot of data. The previous gen is more popular. You get some swapped gearboxes, you get some mods. For this Focus, is not the case. Okay, so I needed to find a way to adjust my gearing just right. And so I started reading some articles here and there, some documents, and so I came up with this. Okay, so I have now this chart, which basically shows me what is the optimum gearing for the for this particular car. So how I went with it. So first I needed to extract the data from the engine graphs. So that would be the torque graph and the horsepower graph. So I made this grid from the screenshot in the game just to get the data out of it. So I was able to get the data out of the torque values, out of the horsepower values. You would see that the graph is prolonged, so it goes beyond the RPM limit. That's actually, I just made it myself just to get an idea where those two graphs would really end. I could have just taken an ECU and see where it would cross, but actually it's pretty accurate since I looked in the game, and it really would cross right after 7k RPM. So yeah, so I was able to extract all of this. It's a pretty tedious process, but once you have the right tools, so I made this in GIMP. It wasn't particularly long. I could have made it even easier if the grid was smaller, because if you see, I went with the increments of 200 RPM every time. You can go with 250 or maybe 500. It's not a big issue. Like, your graph wouldn't be so smooth, but that's not a big deal. Okay, that would still give you an idea of what torque you have on the lows, mids, and highs. So with this, I was able to extract the data for the torque, for the horsepower at a given RPM, extract the torque at the wheels, and I've ran some more calculations for each gear. So here I have basically the graph that shows you the torque at the wheels for every gear. Okay, and so the interest of this graph basically is to show where those torque graphs intersect. So when this first gear intersects with the second gear, basically this is the best point to shift. Okay, because you do not get the torque multiplied more on the first gear if you go here than you would if you switch to the second gear. Okay, so that allows me to adjust basically my gearing, which is available here along with the final drive. The final drive only changes the top speed, but the shifting points remain the same. With this, I'm also able to predict at what RPM I will be able to shift. So for example, if I want to shift always at 6500 RPM, I can just dial all the data in and see from the speed which RPM I would get and where do I have, not where I have to shift, but what gear ratios I have to put to shift always at the same spot. There's also this black line which represents the tractive force, and so basically, to put it simple, the more of this space between the black graph and this difference in the torque graphs, like this white spot, the bigger it is, the more power is lost. So I have to make sure that my gearing is such that this spot is the smallest possible. So for example, I can show you just if I change my gear ratio of the first gear to 3, you see this spot has increased. Okay, that means that all of this surface is basically lost power. Okay, because the maximum power is on this attractive force graph. So if I go lower, for example, I'm able to minimize it, but at the same time the gear would be maybe not the optimum one. Okay, so it's tricky for the first gear. It's tricky for the first gear because too much torque is not really beneficial for the start, especially on front wheel drive. So I keep it around 2.8, 2.7, something like this. And so far it's been giving me good results, so I'm able to run this exact gearbox in the game. So if I just switch to the game, see, I'm running 2 and 7, 2 and 1. It may not be truly accurate since the graph I showed you previously, okay? So this graph, it doesn't take into account the sport fuel, so the highest values of the torque and the power would be a bit higher, but it still doesn't change a lot since, well, the engine graph is still of that shape. Okay, so overall it would remain the same. So that's pretty much it. That's how I adjust the gearing now. Just wanted to share it with you. Hope this was somewhat enjoyable for you. Thanks for watching. See ya.